Hi, everybody. It's Carmen Nardini. I am coming to you for the numbers. I'm reading Numbers 5 through 12. I'm doing week 34 and 35 of the 52-week Bible study. Numbers 5. These are further instructions from the Lord to Moses. Inform the people of Israel that they must expel all lepers from the camp and all who have open sores or who have been defiled by touching a dead person. This applies to men and women alike. Remove them so that they will not defile the camp where I live among you. These instructions were put into effect. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the people of Israel that when anyone, man or woman, betrays the Lord by betraying a trust, it is sin. He must confess his sin and make full repayment for what he has stolen, adding 20% and returning it to the person he took it from. But if the person he wronged is dead and there is no near relative to whom the payment can be made, it must be given to the priest, along with a lamb for atonement. When the people of Israel bring a gift to the Lord, it shall go to the priest. And the Lord said to Moses, tell the people of Israel that if a man's wife commits adultery, but there is no proof, there being no witness, and he is jealous and suspicious, the man shall bring his wife to the priest with an offering for her of a tenth of a bushel of barley meal without oil or frankincense mingled with it, for it is a suspicion offering to bring out the truth as to whether or not she is guilty. The priest shall bring her before the Lord and take holy water in a clay jar and mix into it dust from the floor of the tabernacle. He shall unbind her hair and place a suspicion offering in her hands to determine whether or not her husband's suspicions are justified. The priest shall stand before her holding the jar of bitter water that brings a curse. He shall require her to swear that she is innocent, and then he shall say to her, if no man has slept with you except your husband, be free from the effects of this bitter water that causes the curse. But if you have committed adultery, then Jehovah shall make you a curse among your people, for he will make your thigh rot away and your body swell. And the woman shall be required to say, yes, let it be so. Then the priest shall write these curses in a book and wash them off into the bitter water. When he requires the woman to drink the water, it becomes bitter within her, if she is guilty. Then the priest shall take the suspicion offering from the woman's hand and wave it before her Jehovah and carry it to the altar. He shall take a handful representing all of it and burn the handful upon the altar, and then require the woman to drink the water. If she has been defiled, having committed adultery against her husband, the water will become bitter within her, and her body will swell, and her thigh will rot, and she shall be a curse among her people. But if she is pure and has not committed adultery, she shall be unharmed, and will soon become pregnant. This, then, is the law concerning a wayward wife or a husband's suspicions against his wife, to determine whether or not she has been unfaithful to him. He shall bring her before the Lord, and the priest shall handle the situation as outlined above. Her husband shall not be brought to trial for causing her horrible disease, for she is responsible. 6. The Lord gave Moses these further instructions for the people of Israel. When either a man or a woman takes a special vow of a Nazirite, consecrating himself to the Lord in a special way, he must not thereafter, during the entire period of his special consecration to the Lord, taste strong drink or wine, or even fresh wine, grape juice, grapes, or raisins. He may eat nothing that comes from grapevines, not even the seeds or skins. Throughout that time, he must never cut his hair, for he is holy and consecrated to the Lord. That is why he must let his hair grow. And he may not go near any dead body during the entire period of his vow, even if it is the body of his father, mother, brother, or sister, for his vow of consecration remains in effect. And he is consecrated to the Lord throughout the entire period. If he is defiled by having someone fall dead beside him, then 7 days later he shall shave his defiled head. He will then be cleansed from the contamination of being in the presence of death. The next day of the 8th day, he must bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest shall offer one of the birds for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and make atonement for his defilement. And he must renew his vows that day and let his hair begin to grow again. The days of his vow that were fulfilled before his defilement no longer count. He must begin all over again with a new vow and must bring a male lamb a year old for a guilt offering. At the conclusion of the period of his vow of separation to the Lord, he must go to the entrance of the tabernacle and offer a burnt sacrifice to the Lord, a year-old lamb without defect. You must also offer a sin offering, a yearling ewe lamb without defect, a peace offering, a ram without defect, a basket of bread made without yeast, pancakes made of fine flour mixed with olive oil, unleavened wafers spread with oil, and the accompanying grain offering and drink offerings. The priest shall present these offerings before the Lord, first the sin offering and the burnt offering, then the ram for a peace offering, along with the basket of bread made without yeast, and finally the grain offering along with the drink offering. Then the Nazarite shall shave his long hair, the sign of his vow of separation. This shall be done at the entrance of the tabernacle, after which the hair shall be put in the fire under the peace offering sacrifice. After the man's head has been shaved, the priest shall take the roasted shoulder of the lamb, one of the pancakes made without yeast, and one of the wafers also made without yeast, and put them all into the man's hands. The priest shall then wave it all back and forth before the Lord in a gesture of offering. All of it is a holy portion for the priest, as are the rib piece and shoulder that were waved before the Lord. After that, the Nazarite may again drink wine, for he is freed from his vow. These are the regulations concerning a Nazarite and his sacrifices at the conclusion of his period of special dedication. In addition to these sacrifices, he must bring any further offering he promised at the time he took his vow to become a Nazarite. Now the Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron and his sons that they are to give this special blessing to the people of Israel. May the Lord bless and protect you. May the Lord's face radiate with joy because of you. May he be gracious to you, show you his favor, and give you his peace. This is how Aaron and his sons shall call down by my blessings upon the people of Israel, and I myself will personally bless them." 7. Moses anointed and sanctified each part of the tabernacle, including the altar and its utensils, on the day he finished setting it up. Then the leaders of Israel, the chiefs of the tribes, the men who had organized the census, brought their offerings. They brought 6 covered wagons, each drawn by 2 oxen, a wagon for every 2 leaders and an ox for each one. And they presented them to the Lord in front of the tabernacle. "Accept their gifts," the Lord told Moses, "and use these wagons for the work of the tabernacle. Give them to the Levites for whatever needs they may have." So Moses presented the wagons and the oxen to the Levites. 2 wagons and 4 oxen were given to the Gershon division for their use, and 4 wagons and 8 oxen were given to the Merari division, which was under the leadership of Ithamar, Aaron's son. None of the wagons or teams was given to the Kohath division, for they were required to carry their portion of the tabernacle upon their shoulders. The leaders also presented dedication gifts on the day the altar was anointed, placing them before the altar. The Lord said to Moses, "Let each of them bring his gift on a different day for the dedication of the altar." So Nahshon, the son of Amminadab of the tribe of Judah, brought his gift the first day. It consisted of a silver platter weighing 2 pounds and a silver bowl of about 1 pound, both filled with grain offerings of fine flour mixed with oil. He also brought a tiny gold box of incense, which weighed about only 6 ounces. He brought a young bull, a ram, and a male yearling lamb as burnt offerings, a male goat for a sin offering, and for the peace offerings, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 male goats, and 5 male yearling lambs. The next day, Nathaniel, the son of Zurar, chief of the tribe of Issachar, brought his gifts and offerings. They were exactly the same as Nahshon had presented on the previous day. On the 3rd day, Eliab, the son of Helon, chief of the tribe of Zebulun, came with his offerings, the same as those presented on the previous day. On the 4th day, the gifts were presented by Elizur, son of Shedeur, chief of the tribe of Reuben. His gifts and offerings were the same as those given on the previous days. On the 5th day came Shelumiel, the son of Zerishadiah, chief of the tribe of Simeon, with the same gifts. The next day it was Elasturn, son of Duel, chief of the tribe of Gad. He too offered the same gifts and sacrifices. On the 7th day, Elisham, the son of Ammihud, chief of the tribe of Ephraim, brought his gifts the same as those presented on the previous day. Gamaliel, son of Pedazar, prince of the tribe of Manasseh, came the 8th day with the same offerings. On the 9th day, it was Abidan, the son of Gideon, chief of the tribe of Benjamin, with his gifts the same as those offered by the others. Ahiezer, the son of Amishadai, brought the gifts on the 10th day. He was the chief of the tribe of Dan, and his offerings were the same as those on the previous days. Pagiel, son of Okran, chief of the tribe of Asher, brought his gifts on the 11th day, the same gifts and offerings as the others. On the 12th day came Ahira, son of Enan, chief of the tribe of Nephalti, with his offerings. They were identical to those brought by the others. So beginning the day the altar was anointed, it was dedicated by these gifts from the chiefs of the tribes of Israel. Their combined offerings were as follows: 12 silver platters, each weighing about 2 pounds, 12 silver bowls, each weighing about 1 pound. So the total weight of the silver was about 36 pounds. 12 golden trays, the trays weighing about 4 ounces apiece. So the total weight of gold was about 3 pounds. For the burnt offerings, they brought 12 bulls, 12 rams, 12 yearling male goats with the grain offerings that accompanied them. For sin offerings, they brought 12 male goats. For the peace offerings, they brought 24 young bulls, 60 rams, 60 male goats, 60 male lambs a year old. Moses went into the tabernacle to speak with God. He heard the voice speaking to him from above the place of mercy over the ark, the spot between the two cherubims. Chapter 8. The Lord said to Moses, "Tell Aaron that when he lights the 7 lamps in the lampstand, he is to set them so that they will throw their light forward." So Aaron did this. The lampstand, including the floral decorations on the base and branches, was made entirely of beaten gold. It was constructed according to the exact design the Lord had shown Moses. And the Lord said to Moses, "Now set apart the Levites from the other people of Israel, but do this by sprinkling water of purification upon them, then having them shave their entire bodies and wash their clothing in themselves. Have them bring a young bull and a grain offering of fine flour mingled with oil, along with another young bull for a sin offering. Then bring the Levites to the door of the tabernacle as all the people watch. There the leaders of the tribes shall lay their hands upon them, and Aaron with a gesture of offering shall present them to the Lord as a gift from the entire nation of Israel. The Levites will represent all the people in serving the Lord. Next, the Levite leaders shall lay their hands upon the heads of the young bulls and offer them before the Lord, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, to make atonement for the Levites. Then the Levites are to be presented to Aaron and his sons, just as any other gift to the Lord is given to the priest. In this way, he will dedicate the Levites from among the rest of the people of Israel, and the Levites shall be mine. After you have sanctified them and presented them in this way, they shall go in and out of the tabernacle to do their work. They are mine from among all the people of Israel, and I have accepted them in place of all the firstborn children of the Israelites. I have taken the Levites as their substitute. For all the firstborn among the people of Israel are mine, both men and animals. I claimed them for myself the night I killed all the firstborn Egyptians. Yes, I have accepted the Levites in place of all the eldest sons of Israel, and I will give the Levites as a gift to Aaron and his sons. The Levites will carry out the sacred duties required of the people of Israel in the tabernacle and will offer the people's sacrifices, making atonement for them. There will be no plague among the Israelites, as there would be if the ordinary people entered the tabernacle. So Moses and Aaron and all the people of Israel dedicated the Levites, carefully following the Jehovah's instructions to Moses. Levites purified themselves and washed their clothes, and Aaron presented them to the Lord in a gesture of offering. He then performed the rite of atonement over them to purify them. After that, they went into the tabernacle as assistants to Aaron and his sons. Everything was done just as the Lord had commanded Moses. The Lord also instructed Moses, the Levites are to begin serving in the tabernacle at the age of 25 and are to retire at the age of 50. After retirement, they can assist with various light duties in the tabernacle, but will have no regular responsibilities. Chapter 9. Jehovah gave these instructions to Moses while he and the rest of the Israelites were on the Sinai Peninsula during the first month of the second year after leaving Egypt. People of Israel must celebrate the Passover annually on the 14th day of this first month, beginning in the evening. Be sure to follow all of my instructions concerning this celebration. So Moses announced the Passover celebration would begin on the evening of the 14th, there on the Sinai Peninsula, just as the Lord had commanded. But as it happened, some of the men had just attended a funeral and were ceremonially defiled by having touched the dead, so they couldn't eat the Passover lamb that night. They came to Moses and Aaron and explained their problem and protested at being forbidden from offering their sacrifice to the Lord at the time he had appointed. Moses said he would ask the Lord about it, and this was God's reply. If any of the people of Israel now or in the generations to come are defiled at Passover time because of touching a dead body, or if they are on a journey and cannot be present, they may still celebrate the Passover, but 1 month later, on the 14th day of the second month, beginning in the evening. They are to eat the lamb at that time with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They must not leave any of it until the next morning, and must not break a bone of it, and must follow all the regular instructions concerning the Passover. But anyone who is not defiled, and anyone who is not away on a trip, and yet refuses to celebrate the Passover at the regular time, shall be excommunicated from the people of Israel for refusing to sacrifice to Jehovah at the proper time. He must bear his guilt. And if a foreigner is living among you and wants to celebrate the Passover to the Lord, he shall follow all these same instructions. There is one law for all. On the day the tabernacle was raised, the cloud covered it, and that evening the cloud changed to the appearance of fire and stayed that way throughout the night. It was always so, the daytime cloud changing to the appearance of a fire at night. When the cloud lifted, the people of Israel moved on to wherever it stopped and camped there. In this way, they journeyed at the command of the Lord and stopped where he told them to. They remained there as long as the cloud stayed. If it stayed a long time, then they stayed a long time. But if it stayed only a few days, then they remained only a few days. For so the Lord had instructed them. Sometimes the fire cloud stayed only during the night and moved on the next morning. But day on or night, when it moved, the people broke camp and followed. If the cloud stayed above the tabernacle 2 days, a month, or a year, that is how long the people of Israel stayed. But as soon as it moved, they moved. So it was that they camped or traveled at the commandment of the Lord, and whatever the Lord told Moses they should do, they did. Chapter 10. Now the Lord said to Moses, make 2 trumpets of beaten silver to be used for summoning the people to assemble and for signaling the breaking of camp. When both trumpets are blown, the people will know that they are to gather at the entrance of the tabernacle. But if only one is blown, then only the chiefs of the tribes of Israel shall come to you. Different trumpet blasts will be necessary to distinguish between the summons to assemble and the signal to break camp and move onward. When the travel signal is blown, the tribes camped on the east side of the tabernacle shall leave first. At the second signal, the tribes on the south shall go. Only the priests are permitted to blow the trumpets. This is a permanent instruction to be followed from generation to generation. When you arrive in the promised land and go to war against your enemies, God will hear you and save you from your enemies when you sound the alarm with these trumpets. Use the trumpets in times of gladness too, blowing them at your annual festivals and at the beginning of each month to rejoice over your burnt offerings and peace offerings. And God will be reminded of his covenant with you, for I am Jehovah your God. The cloud lifted from the tabernacle on the 20th day of the second month of the second year of Israel's leaving Egypt. So the Israelites left the Sinai wilderness and followed the cloud until it stopped in the wilderness of Paran. This was their first journey after having received the Lord's travel instructions to Moses. At the head of the march was the tribe of Judea, grouped behind its flag and led by Nahshon, the son of Amminadab. Next came the tribe of Issachar, led by Nathaniel, the son of Zuar, and the tribe of Zebulun, led by Eli, the son of Helon. The tabernacle was taken down, and the men of Gershon and Merari, divisions of the tribe of Levi, were next in the line of march, carrying the tabernacle upon their shoulders. Then came the flag of the camp of Reuben, with Eleazar the son of Shedor leading his people. Next was the tribe of Simeon, head of Shelumiel, the son of Zuri Shaddai, and the tribe of Gad, led by Elisaph the son of Duel. Next came the Koshites, carrying the items from the inner sanctuary. The tabernacle was already erected in its new location by the time they arrived. Next in line was the tribe of Ephraim, behind its flag, led by Elishaim, the son of Ammihud, and the tribe of Manasseh, led by Gamaliel, the son of Pedarzah, and the tribe of Benjamin, led by Abidan, the son of Gideon. Last of all were the tribes headed by the flag of the tribe of Dan, under the leadership of Erzor, the son of Ammishaddai. The tribe of Asher, led by Pagiel, the son of Okram. The tribe of Nephalti, led by Ahira, the son of Enan. That was the order in which the tribes traveled. One day Moses said to his brother-in-law, Hobab, son of Reuel, the Midianite, at last we are on our way to the promised land. Come with us, and we will do you good, for the Lord has given wonderful promises to Israel. But his brother-in-law replied, No, I must return to my own land and kinfolk. Stay with us, Moses pleaded, for you know the ways of the wilderness and will be a great help to us. If you come, you will share in all the good things the Lord does for us. They traveled for 3 days after leaving Mount Sinai, with the ark at the front of the column to choose a place for them to stop. It was daytime when they left, with a cloud moving along ahead of them as they began their march. As the ark was carried forward, Moses cried out, Arise, O Lord, and scatter your enemies. Let them flee before you. And when the ark was set down, he said, Return, O Lord, to the millions of Israel. Chapter 11. The people were soon complaining about all their misfortunes, and the Lord heard them. His anger flared out against them because of their complaints. So the fire of the Lord began destroying those at the far end of the camp. They screamed to Moses for help, and when he prayed for them, the fire stopped. Even ever after, the area was known as the place of burning, because of the fire from the Lord burned among them. Then the Egyptians who had come with them began to long for the good things of Egypt. This added to the discontent of the people of Israel, and they wept. Oh, for a few bites of meat. Oh, what that we had some of the delicious fish we enjoyed so much in Egypt, and the wonderful cucumbers and melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But now our strength is gone, and day after day we have to face this manna. The manna was about the size of coriander seed and looked like droplets of gum from the bark of a tree. The people gathered it from the ground and crushed it into flour or pounded it into mortars, boiled it, and then made pancakes from it. It tasted like pancakes fried in vegetable oil. The manna fell with the dew during the night. Moses heard all the families standing around their tent doors weeping, and the anger of the Lord grew hot. Moses, too, was highly displeased. Moses said to the Lord, "Why pick on me to give me the burden of a people like this? Are they my children? Am I their father? Is that why you have given me the job of nursing them along like babies until we get to the land you promised their ancestors? Where am I supposed to get meat for all these people? For they weep to me, saying, 'Give us meat.' I can't carry this nation by myself. The load is far too heavy. If you are going to treat me like this, please kill me right now. It will be a kindness. Let me out of this impossible situation." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Summon before me 70 of the leaders of Israel. Bring them to the tabernacle to stand there with you. I will come down and talk with you there, and I will take of the Spirit which is on you and will put it upon them also. They shall bear the burden of the people along with you, so that you will not have the task alone. And tell the people to purify themselves, for tomorrow they shall have meat to eat. Tell them the Lord has heard your tearful complaints about all you have left behind in Egypt, and he is going to give you meat. You shall eat it, not for just a day or 2 or 5 or 10 or even 20. For 1 whole month you will have meat until you vomit it from your noses, for you have rejected the Lord who is here among you, and you have wept for Egypt." But Moses said, "There are 600,000 men alone, besides all the women and children, and yet you promise them meat for a whole month? If we butcher all our flocks and herds, it won't be enough. We would have to catch every fish in the ocean to fulfill your promise." Then the Lord said to Moses, "When did I become weak? Now you shall see whether my word comes true or not." So Moses left the tabernacle and reported Jehovah's words to the people. And he gathered the 70 elders and placed them around the tabernacle. And the Lord came down in the cloud and talked with Moses. And the Lord took of the Spirit that was upon Moses and put it upon the 70 elders. When the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied for some time. But 2 of the 70, Eldad and Medad, were still in the camp. And when the Spirit rested upon them, they prophesied there. Some young men ran and told Moses what was happening. And Joshua, the son of Nun, one of Moses' personally chosen assistants, protested, "Sir, make them stop." But Moses replied, "Are you jealous for my sake? I only wish that all of the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his Spirit upon them all." Then Moses returned to the camp with the elders of Israel. The Lord sent a wind that brought quail from the sea and let them fall into the camp and all around it. As far as one could walk in a day in any direction, there were quail flying 3 or 4 feet above the ground. So the people caught and killed quail all that day and through the night and all the next day too. The least anyone gathered was 100 bushels. Quail were spread about all around the camp. But as everyone began eating the meat, the anger of the Lord rose against the people, and he killed large numbers of them with a plague. So the name of that place was called the place of the graves caused by lust, because they buried the people there who had lusted for the meat and for Egypt. And from that place they journeyed to Hazeroth, where they stayed a while. Chapter 12. One day Miriam and Aaron were criticizing Moses because his wife was a Cushite woman. And they said, "Has the Lord spoken only through Moses? Hasn't he spoken through us too?" But the Lord heard them. Immediately he summoned Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to the tabernacle. "Come here, you 3, he commanded. So they stood before the Lord. Now Moses was the humblest man on earth. Then the Lord descended in the cloud and stood at the entrance of the tabernacle. "Aaron and Miriam, step forward," he commanded, and they did. And the Lord said to them, "Even with a prophet, I would communicate by visions and dreams. But that is not how I communicate with my servant Moses. He is completely at home in my house. With him I speak face to face, and he shall see the very form of God. Why then were you not afraid to criticize him?" Then the anger of the Lord grew hot against them, and he departed. As the cloud moved from above the tabernacle, Miriam suddenly became white with leprosy. When Aaron saw what had happened, he cried out to Moses, "Oh, sir, do not punish us for this sin. We were fools to do such a thing. Don't let her be as one dead, whose body is half rotted away at birth." And Moses cried out to the Lord, "Heal her, O God, I beg you." And the Lord said to Moses, "If her father had but spit in her face, she would be defiled 7 days. Let her be by the camp for 7 days, and after that she can come back again." So Miriam excluded from the camp for 7 days, and the people waited until she was brought back and before they traveled again. Afterwards, they left Hazeroth and camped in the wilderness of Paran. And that's all we've got today. Thank you for listening.